All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. So a little tweak in the schedule change. I'll say the powers that be, they ran lots of laps at Nashville Super Speedway. Didn't look like it was going to put on a good show, so we're going to be here tonight at Richmond Raceway. Very difficult 3/4 mile track here tonight. So judging by practice, this is going to be a tough one tonight. So you can see we're watching here that number 051 Steve Gott's truck is going to take us through some laps here. Some of the things we're going to have to look out for tonight, because it's definitely going to be a challenge here, Steve. So I'm going to let you take it away and what these guys have to expect for tonight.
Okay, so I put in about 20 minutes and made a whole mess of adjustments. I don't know if you could see my in-car adjustments, but I couldn't get a handle on this thing.
Yeah, yeah, we don't get to see, unfortunately, what your settings are at currently, but I mean, we can see mostly we can see like what gear you're in and such.
The car wants to push really badly off the turns. I can't figure out what line to take to not have it do that. I couldn't figure out my braking points. I couldn't figure out what was the best line through the turns. These guys are going to have their hands full tonight.
Yeah, saying just to add to that, I mean, saying we're running into this right now, Steve, with you running by yourself on a qualifying trim setup. So imagine these guys full race fuel, with the dirty air, and then with us, like I said, with looks like 20 cars taking the grid tonight. There's going to be a lot going on and a lot that's going to be able to affect these cars here tonight.
I noticed in turn 1 and 2 that a lot of the guys were taking the middle line. And the same thing in 3 and 4, which is so different from how we run the stock cars on this track. So I couldn't find a line where it didn't push on exit. And I made a whole bunch of adjustments on the in-car adjustments, and I made it better than where I started, but still didn't get it to where I was comfortable. These guys are going to be, plus you told me they were shifting, and I did figure out that I needed to be in 5th gear on the straightaways and 4th gear in the turns, but I didn't figure out the right place to downshift and upshift. So that's going to be a big deal for those guys tonight, finding the right point to do that. I noticed a lot of people wrecking, hitting the wall, running into each other. I think it's going to be a really difficult race for these guys tonight.
Yeah, I think this one will definitely, be a race of attrition and survival as well. And I think it's gonna be. I think you're right though, Steve. I think the trouble spot tonight, from what I was seeing, I believe it's gonna be the exit of turn number 2. I think that's gonna be the trouble turn most likely for the drivers here tonight. So it just seemed like that was the turn that was giving drivers the most difficulty from everything I was seeing. Like I said, just because of the way the exit of that turn is, it almost feels like it almost sharpens, if you will, on the exit. So yeah, so it's gonna be very interesting to see kind of what the right strategy call is gonna be for these guys. Where you need to position your car, because of course it's all fun and games. Let's say you kind of have the strategy you want to do when you're off on your own, but then you got to figure out what are you gonna do when you've got these 4 or 5 cars right around you, in front of you, behind you. Because again, let's say you make that wide apex entering the turn. That may not actually, that's going to open you up for an attack on the inside line. Of course, that risk of maybe somebody pushing up into you in that turn as well. So, and of course, with this being such a fast track here right now, 1650s in qualifying trim. I mean, the net code, it's going to be something I think, unfortunately, we're going to wind up playing a role in this one tonight as well.
So it's pretty unlikely we'll go caution-free tonight.
I don't expect to know. However, the fuel window sounds like it is in the window to be a one-stop race if fuel is required, or if it comes down to the fuel mileage. Just say it's 125 laps. I was hearing anywhere from mid-60s to maybe even 70 laps on fuel. So I think based on that, most likely feasible to be able to pull that off. So, but yeah, so we're gonna have to wait and see. That being said, though, qualifying has just completed here. So we're going to go ahead and hunt down our starting drivers here tonight. And it is going to be on pole position here this evening. It's going to be the 007 of Henry Bennett by 300s over a new member to the league here. Scott Rankin actually broadcasts the Dark Horse series with on the Wednesday nights, so I'll say able to kind of switching roles with me, if you will, say where I get to broadcast here on Tuesday nights and I race over there with Dark Horse on Wednesday nights. I say he's going to be racing here tonight and then broadcasting tomorrow night as well with Dark Horse. So really cool to see him, and it looks like he's going to have some pretty good speed tonight, starting in second. And you've got Josh Last, and again, what his first season here at Area 51, a great spot for him tonight in third. You got Nick Degroot in fourth, John DeMatteo in fifth, and then rounding out the top 12, you've got Craig Forsyth, Yari Brupacher, Matt Wagner, Carl Henderson, Michael Spell, Charles Teed, and Jeff Hysong. And they'll drop back to the remaining drivers here. You've got Thaddeus McMurray, Jim Brooks, Jimmy Dryden, AJ Hobson, and then Joseph Morales, Jack Walls, James Ledford, and Don Reedy going to round out our 20 drivers taking the grid tonight. So yes, like you said, Steve, though, a lot is going to be going on here tonight. These guys have to be really on their toes here to make sure that they don't have anything crazy happen on these initial couple laps. I think, of course, being double file in this initial start, that's going to be kind of, I think, job number one to try to make it through that cleanly.
And I'm curious to see how Nick DeGroot's going to do up there, having won the first two races. But now he started on the front row both times, I believe, and now he's stuck in fourth place with a couple rookies ahead of him there.
Yeah, exactly right. Starting fourth. Yeah, safe. And it's one of those things I think you can, I would say, like I said, Scott Rankin, his first race here, but based on his speed here, I have a feeling he's going to be quick with these guys here tonight. But you're right. I mean, you look at some of the cars around him, though, like I said, Josh Lassen, new to the league here this season. I think also fairly new to the Indy cars, but definitely has been a quick learner in that 09. Then you look at other drivers. I mean, behind him, the 69, John DeMatteo, we've seen him so fast, so often, but just hasn't been able to have that clean race. So we'll have to kind of see if he's able to kind of temper his aggression early on to be able to get to the end of these races to have a chance at these wins. I'm going to say that, of course, Henry Bennett, he's going to always be one to challenge for these wins here tonight. So that being said, though, I believe with it being a short track, I think they might do a second lap around. We'll kind of wait and see. Yep, they're going to go one more time around here. So say let these guys kind of get sorted out over here. And yes, it's going to be a 20 drivers taking the grid. 125 laps will be our race distance tonight.
Kind of curious to see if the outside line proves to be the better one at the start here, or the inside line.
That is a good point, because that outside line will have some momentum on that exit of turn 2. However, you wonder, maybe building the speed up. You won't be at full tilt, but what I actually worry about is going to be, are these drivers, are they going to get loose out of turn number 2? I think that could be a big trouble spot. Just building up the speed, being side by side, maybe having to crank a little too much wheel into it. I could easily see that snapping a car around, so these guys are going to have to really be on their toes here for this initial start.
From what I saw in practice, the guys on the inside are going to have to worry more about pushing up into the car on the outside.
So we're going to find out as the green flag is out, and we are underway here at Richmond. 125 laps again here tonight with Dark Horse Racing Area 51 Series. As you can see, yeah, you saw right there, Scott tried to make a move, couldn't quite do it. Henry's going to hold off. A big wiggle by Scott, but looks like so far so good up front. So everybody's going to make it through turns 1 and 2.
As Josh Lassen had it, he definitely got in a little too hot in 3 and 4, and I could see he was starting to push on the way out. He had to back off and almost got run into from behind.
Oh, so he went on the wall towards out of turn number 2. Looks like Don Reedy. But he's going to be able to get that car straight to the bottom. We're going to stay green with that. Hopefully he can limp it back to the pits cleanly. But right now, say Henry Bennett still leading the way. You got a little bit of breathing room here. As you see a battle between Josh Last and John DeMatteo here for the 5th position. I'll say Josh has it. John's going to try to get it. Looks like he will clear just in front of that 09 car. He's going to set his sights now on that 27 of Craig Forsyth.
Wonder what kind of factor tire wear is going to be in this race.
That's a really good question. We'll have to wait and see. As here goes that 69 car. He's going to work underneath the 27, but you see right there, didn't have the momentum off, And look how much momentum he loses, Steve. They're almost good. Potentially, actually, looks like he's going to lose a spot to the 09 there of Josh Laston. He's going to take that top 5 spot right on back there. Just that big momentum loss working the inside of Craig Forsyth. Wasn't able to complete the pass. Had to roll out of it off the exit of 2. So being able to complete these passes quickly and cleanly is going to be extremely crucial tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and it does look like it's a disadvantage to try and pass somebody on the inside. Like, unless you time it perfectly, you're gonna have that problem with the push coming off the turns.
Yeah, exactly right. I think, and saying again, I think also tires probably still building up a little bit of temperature, a little bit of pressure. However, one driver that's enjoying life right now, Henry Bennett, he's checked out now to about a 2-second lead over Scott Rankin. I say Nick Degroot's holding really close to Scott Rankin. About a quarter of a second as we'll jump back, and now it's actually Josh Laston was taking a peek under Craig Forsyth. Wasn't able to make it happen, but again, there's the kind of what happens though. You see now John Mateo a lot closer, able to try to make the move, couldn't quite do it. But right now everybody's spread out pretty nicely here, so I would say with that initial double file start, everybody's singled out pretty well, and now they're kind of able to now just try to set pace with one another. As also, you got Carl Henderson trying to work over Charles Teed here. So it's 13th and 14th positions. Right now, though, we got a couple of drivers moving up 4 spots from their opening position. The highest of those right now, AJ Hobson on that number 4 car.
I'm kind of surprised to see Matt Wagner, who's in 7th, really hasn't gained any spots. He's kind of just hanging out right now. Well, he's gained 1 spot, but I would have expected him to be making a charge to the front right away. So I wonder if he's just being very conservative right now, or if he's just hasn't taken to the setup the way some of the people ahead of him have.
Yeah, I wonder maybe Matt trying to play the long game, just play it safe here early on and then try to make moves right now. But I'll say Craig Forsyth, though, he has got a gaggle of cars here behind him. And actually just a little further back, Jeff Hysong trying to work over the 80 on Michael Spell. He's going to get, he's going to get a little bit of a touch there. But somehow, actually, they're going to both get away with that. We'll have to see if either of them have any damage from that. With Jim Brooks, so he's able to take advantage of that, snuck around Michael Spell, moving himself now into the top 10 in that 51 car. But I said that's one of those things you got to be a little careful of. It's very tricky for some of those things here. And actually, while we were watching that, it looks like Nick Degroot actually has been able to get around Scott Rankin as well. So now move Degroot up into that 2nd spot. So we talked about that 4th starting spot, maybe a bit of a detriment to Nick here, but now he's all the way up into 2nd. However, 3.8 seconds off of Henry.
Yeah, he's definitely got some time to make up there. See if he can do it.
Yeah, now you got Charles Teed, Carl Henderson again fighting for that spot. Carl had a look on the inside to your right, though, Steve. Looks like that inside line a little bit of a disadvantage. Not able to make those moves. Almost have to capitalize on mistakes right now, which I'll say right now a lot of these guys haven't made too many big ones as of yet. I think mostly right here you can see again Craig Forsyth, Josh Laston, John DeMatteo, Matt Wagner, Yari Brupacher. All 5 of these cars here within about a second of one another. And you can see these top 3 of those groups are just completely, maybe not even a half a car length apart, nose to tail.
Yep, and these are 5 very competitive drivers right here.
Yeah, as you see there, Johnny's going to send it there, and when actually able to do the slide jump
before.
Yeah. But now you see Josh, he's going to see maybe he returns the favor, but you can see the 69 sends it there as well. A little bit of contact. But it looks like John's going to hold on to that spot, so you see almost, I say, you don't expect to see fender to fender racing with these Indy cars, but these guys are finding they're going to have to do that, it looks like.
Yep. And I think Josh keyed up, so I think he may have apologized for cutting it so close.
Yeah, so, and that's one of the things. You're going to be so close to these guys at various times throughout the races. Yari Brupacher working on Matt Wagner right now, 7th and 8th positions for these 2 respectively. Basically, here goes John now trying to make a move on Craig Forsyth as well. Got to his inside. This is where he was earlier. You see this time tucks quickly behind to make sure he doesn't lose that spot. Oh, he's going to try the slide jump again. Doesn't work this time. They're both going to go into the outside wall. That's going to bring out the yellow, unfortunately, and say John tried to make an aggressive move like he did earlier on Josh. However, Craig still was there, wasn't cleared. Unfortunately, the 2 of them stuck into the wall. John going to take a tow here. We'll see if Craig, if he can limp that car back to the pits. He's trying to get it off of the wall here. That car is extremely damaged. Yeah, he's going to have to take a tow as well. Unfortunately, already put a lap down. So that's going to be our first caution here, Steve, on lap number 23. And again, I think too much, in my opinion, I think there's just too much to risk to stay out here and be potentially caught with being on having to pit before everybody else has to. So I think we'll see drivers hit pit road here. We'll have to wait and see. Pits, I believe, are still closed. No, they're actually open. Now we're going to have some split strategies here. We got our points leader. He's going to stay out along with Scott Rankin. But Henry Bennett going to lead pretty much the entire rest of the field here on the pit road.
I'm surprised that some stayed out because I think tires are going to make a big enough difference here that that those guys may regret that.
It's a little bit, I must say, I'm a little surprised, I'll say, but I think at the same time, though, if you're Nick Degroot, you can probably gamble. I mean, you've had 2 wins to open up the season. You're sitting really pretty in points. I see Henry's going to easily come out of pits in that second position. And it looks like Josh Laston's going to come out in the 4th spot overall. And then also I saw one car swing around here. I think that was, I'm trying to see who that was that's rolling back to the back now, but yeah, Nick Degroot or Scott Rankin, these two gonna stay out here under this yellow. So yeah, so a little surprised on that one, but it's early. I guess if there's time to gamble, this might be it. But again, talk about the fuel window here, Steve. At this point, these guys that pitted, they can probably go now to, I would say, a lap number, maybe almost lap number 90, maybe even closer to 95, 100. Won't be enough to get to the end. But again, if they can go 20 plus laps more than Nick and Scott, if they get another long green flag run like they did, that's going to be a very dangerous 20 laps or so for Nick and Scott.
Did you notice if they all took tires?
Yes, looks like everybody went with the 4 tires and fuel, say 7-8 second pit stops for pretty much all the drivers up front here. So yeah, so I think everybody opted to go ahead and take the 4 tires and fuel there. Can't take 2 tires with these Indy cars. It's either fuel only or 4. But yeah, so it looks like everybody took tires and fuel under that caution. So looks like you mentioned, we're talking about Matt Wagner, so he's actually kind of gonna gain a couple spots from that contact that jumps him now up into the 5th position. So a good break for him here.
And that contact really wasn't a big surprise to me because, as I mentioned, a car trying to make a pass on the inside, there seemed to me to be no way to dial out the push from that. And when you get on the gas too hard, trying too hard to get by that person before you get off the turn, and you misjudge it, you're just going to push right into them, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does seem to be the case. I say they are both back out on track. John DeMatteo, Craig Forsyth, you can see nose to tail here. Both of them 3 laps down. However, I believe they are the only cars a lap or more down. So if we do get more yellows, this will be a battle for that lucky dog position, and saying this will be critical for who gets the first one, because from then on, it could be just those 2, or it could be just that one person then getting from 2 to 1 and 1 to the lead lap, potentially, depending on how this race unfolds here. So that's going to be, I think, a crucial fight between these 2 here. And probably, I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth, but I'm guessing at 27, probably not very happy about that way that unfolded. However, lights are off in the pace car. We're going to get back to green here. Nick Degroot and Scott Rankin did not pit. They're going to lead the field here to green.
Okay, so as we've seen many times before with these cars in this league, the 2 that didn't take tires are out there with lower fuel, which means their cars are lighter, and that gives them an advantage as far as being able to go faster. But then you got all the guys behind them with new tires where the cars are going to go a little slower but stick better. And at a lot of tracks, you find that it kind of evens up between the 2. And I'm curious to see if it does that here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see kind of who's going to have what advantage or not, as we almost saw the exact same thing happen right there between AJ Hobson and Carl Henderson. Almost the same incident as we saw just a little earlier with those 2 coming out of turn number 4. Luckily, they were both able to hang on to their machines, though. So right now AJ is going to hang on to that 10th spot over Carl Henderson. And then just in front of it, so you can see again, everybody spread out just a little bit here. But like you said, though, actually Henry Bennett, Scott Rankin's actually kind of away from him right now. And it's actually Josh Laston who's putting the pressure on that 007. So you wonder, right, like I said, maybe the fuel mileage actually making the bigger difference than the tires potentially. Or is Henry maybe doing a little bit of strategy, just trying to save fuel here at this point in the race to, again, maybe try to stretch that mileage. I don't think there's any chance he can make it to the end. But again, maybe stretching out where it's like, okay, save my tires now and then maybe try to make the move on them as they maybe burn theirs off a little too hard early on.
Right. Plus, knowing that those guys are going to have to pit and take more fuel, he can be a little bit more leisurely. But I'm still surprised at how far ahead those guys have pulled.
Yeah, same here. I would have never guessed them to have now basically about 2 seconds from the leader to Henry and about 7/10 from Scott to Henry. So like I said, I mean, Josh Laston, he is keeping Henry honest here all over the rear wing of that 007 car. And I really like the way Josh is taking turn 1 and 2. He has a really late apex and gets to the cut really nicely on the exit, so he doesn't have to have a lot of wheel coming out of 2, which I think is one of the trouble spots here tonight. So watch again, you see how late he enters, and he's just going to cut it really sharp here across and gets a huge exit on Henry there.
Yeah, that really helps to negate the push.
Yeah, I mean, because, yeah, you're right. He goes in a little higher, gets some clean air on that front wing, and then is able to get to cut. And as I said, of course, Henry's going to now do the same kind of line there. So say now Josh is going to have to maybe try to adjust a little bit to have another chance to do something there as well. So we'll jump through the field a little bit here. Another closer battle. Jim Brooks is creeping up on Jeff Hysong here. This will put Jim up into the 7th position. Jeff Hysong, he's gained 5 spots so far tonight. Jim has gained 6 spots. Right now, our highest climber, though, a little further back here, James Ledford in the 48 car. He's gained 7 spots from the 20th position here. So we got, again, a lot of movers throughout the field right now. But right now, a couple of our closer battles, though, right now, like I said, Jim Brooks, Jeff Hysong, and then also up front, let's say Henry Bennett, Josh Laston. This battle still continues to be just a couple of tenths of a second between the two of them. And for that lucky dog battle, Craig Forsyth has gotten around the 69 John DeMatteo. So say right now, you never want to root for yellows, but if you're Craig here, as long as you're not in the yellow, you're probably rooting for a yellow if you're that 27 car as they run here at the moment.
Yeah, that's a definite. When you're sitting there running around 3 laps down and you need 3 yellows to get back onto the lead, you start wishing for them pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly right. As again, Henry just cannot shake that 09 of Josh Laston. He definitely has a lot of speed here tonight. You see Matt Wagner start slowly creeping into the picture as well. But yeah, say up front though, it definitely seems to be a clean air is king, because haven't even been talking about him. Nick Degroot, he has snuck away to about a 2.4 second lead, 2.5 now. However, he's going to start encountering a little bit of lap traffic here. He's going to first catch the 60 of Joseph Morales. And he's got a little bit of breathing room before the next car that he'll catch. I'm going to jump around again, though, because I said we got a good little battle here going on. We got Charles T to AJ Hobson, Carl Henderson all right there. And I'm saying, again, that battle for the Lucky Dog right behind them as well. But again, that battle could be for not pretty soon here, because I say once that 89 car here gets around the 60, that Lucky Dog position would go now to that 60 car. So I say for Craig, I say he'd be hoping for a very, very quick yellow, but I say it looks like out of turn number 4, probably going to see that 89 get that 60 lap down.
Yeah, and that's another frustrating thing when you're laps down and you're not up near the leader. As the leader starts lapping cars at the back of the pack, your hopes start to fade away, because you can't be eligible for that Lucky Dog until you pass the car that the leader just passed, and you've got a long ways to go to get there.
Yeah, so you have 2 laps at that point. As you can see, almost the 4, getting a little tight there off of turn number 4. He is trying everything he can now to get around Charles Teed in that 5 car. And again, this is a tough spot here for AJ, because he wants to make a move on Charles Teed, but if he makes too much of a move, he's going to have Carl Henderson right behind him. However, we got to jump a little further forward because we've got actually side by side here. Josh Lassen, Henry Bennett, they are going after this third position. Josh has now been able to get to the inside. Hasn't been able to complete the pass yet, but definitely is ramping up the pressure once again. Also need to mention Jimmy Dryden. He hit pit road from about the top 15 or so. Not sure if maybe some damage that he had to get repaired to that 99 car or not. Unfortunately, that's going to also put him now multiple laps down, especially under green flag conditions. It's definitely going to be a tough spot for him to come back from. It's actually been a long pit stop, so as at this point, Jimmy's race is pretty much done for, unfortunately, tonight. As while this one settled out just for the moment here, Carl Henderson, AJ Hobson has not, as you see again, the crossover here by Carl. He's going to try to now work the inside of AJ here going into turn number 1. But like you said, Steve, that momentum on the high side so far is prevailing, but this time it's actually a little bit of dirtier. Might cost AJ Hobson potentially this position.
He's fighting back though.
Yeah, you can see, yes, like Carl a little, oh, actually caution is out, and it looks like it's gonna be, oh, it's the 69 John DiMatteo. I believe that's gonna be his second incident, most likely done for the evening. However, that caution, a huge break, I think, for our top two. As we were on lap number 53, they could have probably gone another, I'd say 15 or so more laps. However, that's gonna put us back under yellow. And unfortunately, I have a kind of a sneaky suspicion. It's again contact between that 99 and the 69 and the 27 here. So we'll take a look here on the replay.
It looks like maybe a little payback there.
Yeah, possibly. I say Craig may have just gotten a little too hot, as saying washed up and got into the back. But yeah, like I said, probably a little bit of tempers flaring. Like I said, Craig probably not happy about the earlier incident. So I say whatever. Maybe I say we're speculating here. However, we talked about some of the drivers making those gambles. The 49 Yari Brewpucker, he stays out here, which is gonna be actually, I think, a huge disadvantage for Craig Forsyth, because Craig, you see, staying out, was hoping to stay out and get one of those laps back on the wave around, but with Yari staying out, he's not going to have the opportunity to get that lap back. And it looks like on the pit stop cycle, Nick Degroot, he's going to hold on to the, well, he's going to win the race off pit road. He's going to restart second here. And Henry Bennett, though, able to jump around Scott Rankin in the pits, so his pit crew doing good work there to get around that 156 car, move himself back up now into that third position overall.
So I'm watching the incident between Craig Forsyth and John DiMatteo, and from Craig's in-car, it doesn't look like that was on purpose. And also from the blimp view, it looks like there was some net code between the two of them. So just an unfortunate incident where they were both trying to occupy the same track or same place at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, and just the way these cars are at this track, I mean, you've got honestly probably milliseconds to be able to react to some of these things here. So, but here's the next question though, Steve. Here we're on lap 56 of 125. We talked about that fuel window being maybe 65-70 range. This puts these drivers right on the edge. Do you think this, if, again, of course, this all depends on how long the green flag run could go and things like that, but other than Yari Brewpacker, I believe he, no matter what, he still is going to have to pit to make it to the end of this race. But is this going to be the last time we might see some of these drivers, like maybe a Nick Degroot, Henry Bennett, Scott Rankin and company, maybe the last time we see them on pit road potentially here, thinking they can maybe run this fuel mileage out the rest of the way?
Yeah, I think it's very possible that that's what we're seeing right now.
I'll say, well, so we're going to hop on. Yeah, and I'm saying I'm watching Nick Degroot now. He is lugging that car around in 6th gear. Henry Bennett, he's up into 4th gear. Say Scott's kind of, he's ready to roll. He's up in 2nd. Josh Lassen in 6th gear as well. So I say a lot of different strategies for these guys. I say I'm sure a lot of drivers also putting the clutch in. These cars, however, as I say, Steve, you and I, we're more familiar with the stock cars. Don't want to shut the engine off with these things because it's not the easiest to get those things to refire, kind of the rolling kickstart, if you will. Because yeah, if these things say if you shut these off and you can't get it refired, you are toast.
Yep, but they can play with their engine mapping, and that's
As I say, here goes Yari Brubacher, and saying that's the next thing. Make sure they put their engine mapping back to map number 1 here. But we'll see. I say we might be seeing some drivers run a map 3, a map 5, try to get absolute full fuel savings to make it to the end without any question. But I say Yari Brubacher, he said, you know what? I need some track position. I want to see if I can do something with this clean air. We've seen everybody else up front sneak away to 2+ second leads. I think Yari's liked what he saw from that, so he's going to try that himself here. Caution back out the 37 car, Thaddeus McMurray. Oh, the rear wing, you see it hanging down off the back. That's going to bring the yellow back out here. So quick caution under this restart, but it's unfortunately pretty severe damage to that number 37. See if we can find what happened here to Thaddeus. So you're watching him entering turn number 1. Oh, he just gets really loose on the entry there, Steve. He just cuts straight down to the apron. However, luckily, it looks like a solo incident. Nobody else involved, but say definitely the right caller to throw the yellow because I say that car was starting to slide back down the track in front of some of the drivers there. So that's going to bring the yellow back out here. We'll jump back live because now I think a driver that's going to be very happy about that caution didn't get the wave round last time due to Yari Brubacher staying out. It's going to be Craig Forsyth, I believe, will get the wave round this time by. Yeah, here he comes in that 27 car. However, he's also probably thinking, man, if I got that last one, I'd be just coming around here. I'd be 1 lap down instead of now going to be 2 down.
Yep.
And then on the pit stop side of things, Steve, I think we have our question answered because the only driver that pitted is Joseph Morales, who's just now coming out of pit road. Everybody else stayed out under this caution, Steve. So I think that answers our question. I think these drivers all know that at this point, especially now with this yellow, I think these guys all feel like they can make it to the end.
Yeah, I think so. And having these caution laps absolutely helps them as well because they can change their engine mapping to use less fuel and save a ton on these caution laps.
Yeah, exactly right. So while we're on the wheel, let's run around a little bit. Some of the drivers we maybe haven't talked about too much tonight. I don't know if I mentioned Jeff Hysong very much tonight. He's right now +5 into that 7th position. We talked about Jim, obviously, right now in 8th position, +6 from his starting spot. Also +6 AJ Hobson. In between them, Charles Teed hasn't, as they talked to him in practice, wasn't feeling super confident about his kind of just the feel he was going to have for tonight. Right now sitting in the 9th spot there as well. And then a few weeks ago, Michael Spell finished 3rd not too long ago with some brilliant pit strategy, hoping he can maybe do some more strategy tonight. But as on the fuel side of things, it might be having to make a late decision if we get timely cautions of pitting or not pitting, maybe to have the right tires or just making the right call at the end. But right now sitting in 12th. And then James Ledford in the 13th spot right now, +7 from his starting spot. And we mentioned last car on the lead lap right now is Joseph Morales because actually with that damage, Thaddeus McMurray, he did fall a lap down here. So talked about Craig Forsyth not getting that wave round the time before. Unfortunately, that's now going to put Thaddeus McMurray 1 down, Craig 2 down. So at this point, Craig's not going to be in that catbird seat if there's another yellow.
And the odds are that Craig is not going to be able to get a wave around on any future cautions because it looks like everybody except Yari Brubacher is not going to pit again.
Yeah, that's a great point, Steve, because yeah, we're at 62 to go here as we just crossed the halfway point in this one. So I mean, at this point, yeah, you're right. Yari is really the only one who cannot make it to the end. I don't see any realistic way where he could make it because right now he is 30 laps less fuel than these guys behind him. I'm sure what Yari was hoping for was probably another, let's say 30, 40 lap run and then a caution come out to maybe then open up the possibility, hey, maybe we should get some new tires on these cars. But say, unfortunately, with a quick yellow like that, you knew nobody was going to duck in unless it was right on the edge of field. So I think field concerns second on back are gone. But now it's going to be all about kind of positioning yourselves for this final stretch of the race as Jari Brubacher. He's going to drop the hammer and lead the field back to green here with 61 to go.
I really don't think, even if we have a bunch more cautions, I just don't think that the rest of these guys are going to pit again. And I don't know that tires are going to make that much of a difference from what we've seen so far.
Oh, close there between the 51 and the 18. Jeff Hysong holds the spot though. But you're right, Steve. I mean, we saw when Nick and when Scott stayed out. I mean, they stepped away from Henry Bennett. So yeah, I think you're exactly right there. So right now I think for Jari Brubacher, I think right now just lead some laps. I'll say just kind of get some clean air and just enjoy it while you can here. Like you said, unfortunately, I think even with the timely yellow, like you said, Steve, I don't see anybody else coming back in the pit. So I think at this point it's going to be pretty much a race where you got to get what you can get right now. And I'm saying for Matt Wagner, that's going to be to try to find a way around Josh Lawson. Up, as I say, that caution back out. And I believe it is the 4 AJ Hobson. Oh yeah, he is facing the wrong way and up into the wall. That's going to put us back under caution here, and unfortunately has to take a tow. Let's see what happened here to AJ. Looks like he's trying to work around Charles. Oh, another one, Steve. Just entering turn number 1, the car just steps out from him. He tries to correct it, and unfortunately, when he hooks the wheel back to the right, the car just completely grips and just huge hit to that wall. And unfortunately, it looks like, James Ledford, he gets a big piece of that as well in that 48 car. So, unfortunately, that's going to bring our yellow back out. And like you said, or like we just talked about, you see here, Thaddeus McMurray, he's going to have a nice little clear path here through these guys and is going to be able to avoid that contact, and that should put him back on the lead lap here. Unfortunately for Craig, though, not so lucky. And Jari Brubacher, I mean, maybe Yari's thinking, you know what, I can save all the fuel in the world here. Can I save 30 laps worth of fuel to be able to make this thing to the end? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either, but if we keep having cautions like this, maybe it can happen.
I mean, I go back seasons ago, but Eric Schaus, the 72, I mean, he was Mr. Fuel Save with these cars. There'd be times where it's like, there's no way, you can't make it to the end. And somehow Eric would work the strategy and work the fuel numbers to make it happen. So we did have a few drivers hit pit road there. We had James Ledford, we saw him caught up in that incident, hit pit road. Also, we had Carl Henderson hit pit road along with Joseph Morales. And it looks like Michael Spell hitting pit road as well right now. So it's like some drivers right at the edge of the top 10 hitting pit road there. But I say not surprised, obviously most of the top 10 opting to stay out here. I think, and like we talked about, I mean, I think at this point you've got what you've got. I don't think it's going to be worth to do anything crazy here. So, but like I said, though, Thaddeus McMurray puts himself back onto the lead lap here. And unfortunately for James Ledford, and unfortunately for Craig Forsyth, James now 1 lap down, which again puts Craig again in a tough situation where he's still stuck 2 down, and now James in that ideal position.
Yep, it's just going to be a frustrating race for Craig Forsyth.
Yeah, I'll say the only thing maybe I'll say he just maybe distract himself a little bit. I'll say he's sharing in the Area 51 Discord. He say he has a new piece for the race room. He say this is a very nice looking IndyCar fire suit, say a Paul Tracy fire suit. So pretty cool addition to his collection. So I'll say hopefully he can just kind of take a peek at that and get himself a little bit of a stress relief. Like, okay, that's a really nice looking fire suit. I feel a little better now.
Is he wearing it while he races? Because, he may be needing something to keep his own fire down.
I don't know. I think that would just get him even more heated and angry. I say, especially with the Paul Tracy fire suit. I mean, that man definitely wore his emotions on his sleeve. So I say that might not be a good combo to have there. However, as you see, lights are off. We are 1 to go. We didn't mention drivers out of the race, unfortunately. We saw John Mateo with that second incident that forced his retirement, Jack Walls as well, and then earlier in the race, Don Reedy as well. So we got 17 in the race, 13 on the lead lap. Like I said, right now, we still feel like, I mean, this could be a potential 3 for 3 to start the season for Nick Degroot. And I'm saying, if that happens, Steve, I think we're going to have to ask Nick the underwear question, because that was the lucky charm for Charles Teed 2 seasons ago, I believe it was, or maybe even last season. I can't keep up now. So to see maybe Nick's got some lucky underwear in that 89 car.
Yeah, I think that was early last season, and then unfortunately things didn't go as well for Charles the rest of the season, and so at least he got to wear clean underwear for most of the season after that. Someone just got put up in the wall back there.
Oh yeah, it's Jim Brooks up against the outside wall. Significant damage to his car. He's gonna have to limp that thing back to pit road. So we'll take a look here, try to see what happened exactly to Jim. Like I said, maybe see if it was some more net code or not. See, oh yeah, it looks like it might be contact. Oh, actually, Jim gets into the back. It looks like, I'm not sure, Steve. That it looks like some net code, but then also, yeah, there's some weirdness on that one. But unfortunately, say with it staying green, that's a huge hurt or hit there for Jim. That's going to again also drop him now multiple laps down. As we talk about the pace in these cars, under green is just extremely fast. But right now, Jari Brubacher is going to continue to lead here, about a second over Nick Degroot. But again, do not feel like at this point that Jari is going to have the fuel to make it to the end. Looks like right now Josh Laston kind of picking back up where he left off. Say it was Henry Bennett earlier. Now it's going to be Scott Rankin. He's going to be working over to try to get that position. I feel like right now this 09 car, he's probably been one of the racier cars in the dirty air. We've seen the lead cars kind of be able to sneak away from the field, but Josh has been able to really keep right there, very close. Oh, a little bit of bubble, big save there coming off of 2 by Josh. But yeah, I think Josh definitely has some good speed here. Just hasn't been able to put himself in that position. And as my commentator's curse strikes, so he gets loose there, has a bit of a moment out of 4 as well. So we're going to start talking about somebody else to hopefully break that curse. And unfortunately, that puts me to his partner in crime, Carl Henderson. And Steve, if I recall, I heard there's a certain nickname about that 42 car.
Yeah, I hear it's a pretty hot car.
So that might be what it is. They're in that 42 of Carl Henderson. Let's say we're going to jump around though back actually, because Matt Wagner now, he's actually working over that 09 car. Looks like he's going to just grab the spot there. I'm kind of wondering, Josh may have damaged that car just a little bit there. We saw him kind of just kiss the wall, I believe, off of 4. Might be affecting the rotation of that 09 car. Or might be having to just kind of get a breather, get himself kind of collected again and get back going. So it's going to drop him to 6th. Matt Wagner up into 5th position. I'll say, well, right now everybody else is holding pretty steady track position-wise. I'll say right now you got a good little 3-car battle here, though, with Jeff Hysong, Charles Teed, and Carl Henderson there. All 3 of these guys just inside the top 10. And saying for Charles to say he was not feeling too confident about his race tonight. I mean, I think he's making the best of a bad situation right now, holding in that 8th spot here.
Yeah, definitely. This is, we've seen Charles be among the fastest guys on quite a few different tracks, but this does not seem to be one of his best.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was talking to him in practice, and he said, it's like, I've been trying different combinations. I've been trying everything I can. I just haven't had a feel for it. However, I mean, whatever it is, I mean, maybe he's found something to dial on that car a little bit, because he's been putting a lot of pressure here on Jeff Hysong here. And actually getting an update, unfortunately, Jack Walls. We saw him, marked him as an early retirement. VR headset connection difficulties for Jack that knocked him off. And then, of course, looks like had some. And at that point, Windows is like, hey, I mean, while you're here, let's do some updates too. You got nothing better to do.
Oh, that's a killer. I have my Windows scheduled so that it can't do updates during the hours that I race.
Yeah, seems like no matter what, every so often it tries to find something. So, Jack, it's unfortunate. Say you were in a good position there. Say a lot happening going on. Oh, and then they say he actually having some troubles as well with some faster pair. Difficult. Like basically, it sounds like he actually DQ'd him, and wasn't able to use his faster pair as well. So just nothing. Basically, pretty much went from bad to worse for Jack there. So it's unfortunate. But actually, got to mention here, Michael Spell on pit road, not scheduled here for that 88 car. So that's going to drop him down the running order. Say not sure. Maybe again, maybe a little bit of wall contact or something like that. Also see Jimmy Dryden running pretty slow on the apron here. Maybe contact between the two of them. Not 100% sure there. But he's going to hit pit road as well. So right now, though, things holding pretty steady here is Matt Wagner, though. He has closed the gap onto Scott Rankin now. Matt trying to get himself into the mix here. See if he can find a way to maybe fight for that top 3.
Yeah, I think Matt decided it was go time. I think that's why he passed Josh Laston.
Yeah, so you can see Charles Teed still trying to work over Jeff Hysong as well. He can get to the inside of him, just like you said, Steve, just can't get the power, make the move off the exit right now. So right now these 3 stay pretty much lockstep with the 3 of them. And saying again, Charles, he can't be too aggressive here because if he bobbles, Carl's going to be right there to take over that position as well. So say as again, these laps, they click off very quickly, already down to 33 to go. And this one is, see again, Charles gets a move underneath, got a little bit of a bobble here. He's going to run the middle here through 3 and 4. But again, on that high side, there's momentum, and there goes Carl's going to take that, well, I shouldn't say take the position yet. He's going to try to take that position here as it comes out of turn number 2 as they stay side by side.
And I'm watching Matt Wagner go up against Scott Rankin. He's finally getting underneath him going into 1 and 2. And, oh my goodness, he got a good run off it too.
That was a great exit of 2, especially for the inside. So that's going to move Matt now up into that 4th position. And say, I'm sure Josh is watching, say, okay, I need to try to find a way to do that myself. As the battle here a little further back continues on. Now it's Carl Henderson and Jeff Hysong battling here. You see right there, Carl giving a lot of room on the entry, making sure not to kind of squeeze that 18 car. But I think it's gonna maybe have to consider being a little more aggressive on the entry. I think maybe kind of give himself a little bit of an arc. But I mean, when you talk about the net code and the potential contact, you of course don't want to risk that. So it's that tough balance of aggression versus patience with these cars here. And Steve, looking at lap times, last time by it was a 75.15 for Jari Brupacher in that clean air, 25 for Nick, and a 38 for Henry, 19 for Matt Wagner. So now Matt also closing the gap on Henry Bennett. So I think you're right. I think it's been pretty much go time. But I mean, these two though, they just cannot get away from each other right now. I see. You can see. I mean, Carl's trying to get there, but Jeff is fighting hard here on the outside.
Yeah, and it seems like, you know, Carl gets to where he's just almost pulls ahead, and then he pushes off the turn, and Jeff's able to get a better run coming off the turn, and so Carl loses all that distance that he's gained.
Yeah, exactly right. And as you can see, Carl gains so much on the entry, but then Jeff gets it all back on the exit. So you almost wonder for Carl here, does he maybe try to run high and then try to cut it low on the exit instead of entering low and try to get that momentum off the exit? So I'll say he's lost a little bit here. So we're going to jump now to Scott Rankin, Josh Laston, because now Josh is within just a couple of tenths of him. Saying as he closes a lot there in 1 and 2, gets right to the rear wing of that 156 car. But say again, the other thing we got to keep an eye on here, Jari Brupacher. Say we're down to almost 20 to go here, and I don't think there's any feasible way for Jari to make it to the end. But that being said, Nick's starting to put the pressure on him as well.
Yeah, I think Yari's gonna. I mean, if he does have to pit, it's gonna be soon. Because we thought he could go. We thought he'd be about 30 laps short, and then they had a mess of caution laps, so he got to save some fuel then. So I would say, you know, maybe 15, 20 laps to go as far as he's going to make it. I think Matt Wagner's the fastest car on the track right now. He is really running.
You are spot on. I think right now he's running the fastest laps of the race. I'll say the other thing for Jari, he's coming up on some traffic here. He's got 2 cars right in front of him, and like I said, Nick Degroot putting a lot of pressure on him. So it's really starting to bring the top two together. And actually, as I say, I think Henry and Matt starting to close the gap as well. So, and this is where if you're Nick Degroot, I mean, how patient do you be here? I mean, of course, you feel like Yari's going to have to pit. And actually, as I say that, here he comes now. Here's Yari's pit stop. We were just talking about it. So that's going to now move Nick Degroot back into the lead here as Yari Brewpacker went for the gamble. It's not looking like it's going to pay off at this point as Nick takes the lead over here. But now he has to work through slap traffic, so we'll have to keep an eye on that interval between himself and Henry Bennett. So he's got one put away here. I think that was Joseph Morales. So I said, but like you said though, I mean, Matt is putting down some blistering laps right now. So it looks like a tenth quicker than Henry, 2/10 quicker than Nick while he was working over the traffic. I said we're gonna jump a little further back because this battle between Jeff and Carl fights on, and saying also Scott and Josh is still going on as well. These guys are just completely, I think, committed into this fight between the two of them. I see again also a good little fight here with these guys. So I'm having a hard time balancing it around as say now you see Henry Bennett. And here's Matt Wagner, Steve, just a couple tenths off now.
Yeah, I'm wondering, you know, if these three guys are all going to end up in a three-way battle here at the end.
I think you're probably feeling pretty good right now if you're Nick Degroot. You've gotten around the traffic. They still got one more car to get around before they can get anything happening. But so I'm going to jump back here, though, because this Carl and Jeff Hysong battle just will not go away. So you wonder, I mean, at the same time, you know they're enjoying this battle, but at the same time, you know Carl is probably getting pretty flustered here, knowing that he feels like he's got the pace over Jeff right now. And saying Scott here as well. It looks like Josh has finally got the nose underneath him. But again, just the exit speed. Other than Matt Wagner, we haven't seen anybody really be able to make that exit speed work like we've seen these other guys. So we're going to jump back up, though, because Matt Wagner has gotten to the back of Henry Bennett, and Henry has not been able to get around that car in front of him.
Wow, and they've lost a lot of time to Nick Degroot. Henry Bennett was 1.0 behind. He's lost 7/10 with that traffic.
Yeah, just hasn't been able to find a way to get around. Now he's going to get it done, though. So we'll say, but again, I think it's too little too late at this point. I think Nick Degroot just runs smart, clean laps here. So he's going to cross line here. We're going to be at 11 to go here at Richmond. So again, still great battles going on. And see, again, Carl and Jeff Hysong still going at it here. This is for 6th and 7th position. Scott Rankin, Josh Lashton, they're still having their battle right up in front as well. Still Josh trying to find a way. And then, of course, you mentioned Henry Bennett, Matt Wagner. Henry's been able to separate himself by about 0.3 of a second now. But yeah, I mean, these guys just, they will not go away. While we've been watching all this stuff, Steve, though, still Nick Degroot leading by about 2 seconds.
Yep, Henry Bennett cut about 1/10 off of that on the last lap. Oh, and he just lost 0.3 on this one.
I think this has been Josh's best opportunity here on Scott Rankin, but not going to be enough here out of turn number 2. He was side by side with him, but just wasn't able to send it deep into one like he needed to. So unfortunately for Scott there, for Josh there, it's going to allow Scott to hold that position. But yeah, now it's time to watch this battle, though, because here goes Matt Wagner making a move on Henry Bennett.
Yep, I think these guys have decided that they have to worry about each other. They know they're not going to catch Nick Degroot, so Henry Bennett has gone into defense mode, and Matt Wagner has gone into offense mode, and it'll be
big move there by Henry.
Yep.
Oh, we need to mention Josh Lawson has gotten around Scott Rankin, saying a pretty big difference now in position between the two of them. So that's going to move Josh now up into 4th. So we're going to look, actually, Carl Henderson got to the inside of Jeff, but not enough here. You see behind them, here comes Yari Brewpacker with those tires. He's got plenty of pace on these guys, but again, unfortunately, a couple laps down. But actually, yeah, you're right. The Henry Bennett, he's been able to sneak away as we're down to 5 to go already. So we're gonna have to soon cut off this great battle we've got going on 6th, 7th, and 8th here to kind of watch Nick here just kind of parade around the front right now. We'll keep an eye on these guys for a few more laps because it's still a battle that just will not end.
And Charles T just kind of patiently sitting behind the two of them, probably hoping for a mistake of some kind so that he can get by. And who's that behind him that just...
That's Jari Brupacher behind them.
Oh, wow.
And then closing up is Nick Degroot as well. All right, Nick's cross line here, 2 to go here at Richmond. So I'll say it's not a lot of opportunities left for these guys. I'll say they got just 2.5 laps at this point with this battle here. Looks like Henry and Matt, that battle has pretty much settled out here. But I'll say what we're going to do though is we're going to jump over now. I'll say we'll watch from the onboard of Nick Degroot. We'll take the final lap along this 89 cars. We watch that battle in front of him. So he's just making sure to say, hey, you guys need to right this clean so I don't have to dodge any wrecks here coming to the checkered flag. So here comes Nick Degroot out of 3 and 4. And it's going to be Nick Degroot 3 in a row here. Going to get the win tonight at Richmond. Henry Bennett's going to hold off Matt Wagner for that second position. Matt Wagner 3rd. Josh Laston 4th. Scott Rankin going to round out in the top 5. Jeff Hysong in 6th. And then here's that battle, and it looks like, yep, Jeff's going to hold on to it. Charles T dove to the inside. I don't think he had enough momentum quite at the end. I think it's going to be Carl Henderson in 7th, Charles T in 8th. And I believe that is going to be our 8 cars on the lead lap here tonight at Richmond. But it's going to be Nick Degroot getting the win here.
And Jari Brupacher, with that unfortunate strategy of being the only car that stayed out, got to lead a lot of laps, but unfortunately ended up a lap down in, what is that, 11th or 10th place.
Yeah, so that's fun. Unfortunate strategy didn't quite pan out for Jari there, but a great result here for Nick. I say again, just going to increase that points lead yet again. So it sounded like he wasn't feeling the most confident about it going into tonight, but obviously working very well for him once it came race time. Was able to put himself in the right position.
And I have to give a shout out to the broadcasters. I often like to say that those who can't end up broadcasting, and but we've got broadcaster Josh Laston in 4th place. He had a hell of a run tonight. He broadcasts my Sunday night races in AOLO. Carl Henderson, who also broadcasts those races, finishes 7th. That's a great run for him. And Scott Rankin, who you were talking about earlier, finishes 5th. This guy is all, I mean, with this tough crowd in this league, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you're right. Some really good results for those guys. So I say they talk the talk, but they also walk the walk, it looks like. But yeah, great results for those guys. So we'll pull up our final results here before we get into our interviews tonight. And again, it's going to be Nick Degroot here, 3 in a row here at tonight, this time at Richmond. Henry Bennett go hold on to 2nd, Matt Wagner in 3rd. Like mentioned, Josh Laston, Scott Rankin 4th and 5th. A great battle between those two going to the wire there. Jeff Hysong able to fight off Carl Henderson, Charles T to hold that 6th spot. But great result for Carl and Charles there in the lead lap as well. And then, like you said, Thaddeus McMurray still holds on 1 lap down in 9th. And somehow Jari Brupacher, Steve, even with the green flag pit stop, still finishes 1 lap down in the top 10. I mean, to me, that's a result in itself to be able to do that and still come out as far up as he did. So it didn't pan out for him, but, I mean, definitely showed if he had the track position, he had the pace tonight as well. And then you got Joseph Morales there in 11th, James Ledford in 12th. Craig Forsyth just didn't get the recovery he needed to with those cautions at the wrong time. 13th for him, Michael Spell in 14th. We saw, unfortunate contact for Jim Brooks, put himself into the pits there at the end of that, at the basically the beginning of that final run. It drops him down to 15th position. And you got AJ Hobson, Jimmy Dryden, John DiMatteo in 17th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. And then the last 2 positions, see Jack Walls there in the 19th spot, and Don Reedy early retirement in that 20th position. However, now we get to talk to some drivers, Steve, and we get to kick it off with the number 11 of Matt Wagner, who is, like you said, making some big speed at the end of that race there. So we'll have to see maybe what he found out in that car.
Well, let's get him up here.
Let's pull in that number 11 of Matt Wagner. Started in the 8th position, finishes in 3rd. Man, that last section of the race, Matt. I mean, it seemed like you found something because I mean you were putting down some big laps there at the end. Say it seemed like kind of almost like a clock went off. You're like, all right, I gotta go. I can't kind of ride anymore. I mean, just take us through that final run of the race and say, was it something you found? Was it just like, or was it maybe just like you said, the clock said, okay, it's time to really start to put the hammer down?
2 words: tire conf. I can't pronounce the damn word.
Conservation.
Yes, bingo. Thank you. I didn't want to burn off my right front and your right rear. I wanted to take my time the first couple of laps, let everybody burn their stuff up, and then at about 25, 30 laps, and then it's time to put up the pressure. And I was able to pass 2 cars there at the end. One Australian guy, he drove a phenomenal race. Scott, a big congrats to him. Tough luck him with Jimmy Dryden, but I'm really happy for his qualifying effort. Second place, that's awesome for him. But as far as my race goes, man, if I would have got by Henry, I felt like I had a little bit more pace than him, and maybe would have had a shot at Nick. You'll never know.
At one point, you were gaining point 0.2 and point 0.3 every lap on Nick. And it seemed like when you and Henry started catching traffic, that everything just kind of slowed down, and both of you started losing more time, and then you got separated from him. I thought you were going to be able to try and make a move, and you were never able to get caught back up after you got in that traffic.
Yeah, I lost I lost focus there for a second. I accidentally hit one of my weight jacket buttons. So I was wondering why the car's going so slow, and oops, that was my bad. But it happens. It happens in racing. But the traffic was a big deal. I did have run on them. If those lap cars wouldn't have been there, I felt like I probably could have got by them. But other than that, flawless race. We finished the race. I'm happy we finished the race. No bad luck. I'm just happy, ecstatic.
I'm happy you're happy.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying obviously you were part of the group that did a lot of legwork to see. Was obviously going into last week thinking that we'd be at Nashville. Made the adjustment to switch it over here to Richmond, and I mean, you guys put on a great race. I'd say we were a little nervous in practice. I'd say we saw it was a very difficult one, but it seemed like everybody really was able to kind of get it dialed in and put some great laps down. I'd say only the 4 cautions for a 125 lap race here at a short track like Richmond. I mean, when you guys are putting 16, 17-second laps at this place, I mean, there's not a lot of time to really think or breathe or just be able to be ready to react to anything around you. I mean, how tense was that as well when there was so much action going on around you?
I tell you what, it makes my arm hurt. My right arm is just killing me from all that turning left for so quick because you only got a about 3 second wait till you turn again. It's wow. I'm ecstatic for everybody. Everybody was patient the whole race, and I'm very proud of this group. I couldn't be more happier. There's a few, but that's going to be on my terms. I will not, as we do here in Area 51, we do not call out all other drivers. So that being said, oh man, what a race! I'm just happy. I got no words.
Well, I'm gonna make you do a few more words though, because I say we gotta let you have the floor here for thanks and shouts for your third place tonight.
Actually, I would like to congratulate me for not crashing anybody or any internet connection troubles. That was hilarious, um, but yeah, more of like a thank you for the whole entire Area 51 group for putting on a good show for everybody to watch. I really do appreciate everybody.
No, great job tonight, Matt. As I grabbed the third place, like you said, you finally hopefully kicked the bad luck away. I say it's a great result for you tonight. So enjoy this one, and say we'll see you next week for some road racing.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, buddy.
Great job tonight, Matt.
Thank you, buddy, as usual.
All right, that is our third place finisher, Matt Wagner. And we'll jump now over to the driver that he was trying to find a way to get around but couldn't quite get it done in the end. That is going to be the 007 of Henry Bennett. Got the pole tonight. I say led some laps. I say was looking really good, and then just say the pit strategy kind of unfolded, and say and it say Steve and I were pretty nervous about some of those that stayed out under that first yellow, but it seems like it maybe paid off for them. Did you have any second thoughts about staying out, keep that track position for that? I believe it was the second caution round, maybe lap 30 or so. I want to say it was, or did you feel like that was definitely going to be the right call to not put yourself in a risk of getting caught out with having to make a green flag stop?
You can never be 100% sure that it's the right call, and obviously it wasn't the right call today because Nick could get past me for track position. But yeah, it was quite a big. I think it was a slight gamble for him. I think he was in second when we went under caution and we pitted. So that is quite a big gamble, because if it went green the rest of the way, he had to pit a lot earlier than us, and 25 laps earlier than us, and if there's a caution that comes out in those 25 laps, then he's probably 2 laps down after that. So it probably is a gamble, but I think what he was saying, that he's got 2 wins this season already, so he can make gambles. But in my position, yeah, it's a tough one. But I'm already using more fuel because I'm out front, and if I stayed out, then I'd have even less fuel in the tank and be able to go even less distance, and I'll be pitting so much earlier, maybe 30 laps earlier than some people, and that's just a huge gamble to end up a few laps down. So yeah, I think on balance my call to pit was the right call, but people are always going to gamble, so it's just the way of oval racing.
Henry, what do you think kept you from being able to get up there and challenge Nick during that last run? Was it just a matter of the arrow that was going on, or do you think you missed something as far as what adjustments to make to go the speeds that he was running?
I think I was competitive early in the stints, and yeah, I think I actually got as close as you probably can in dirty air. But yeah, to get clean air, you need to run a higher line, which I was trying. But then the distance is slightly further, and it's not quite as much grip up there, even with the clean air. So yeah, it kind of, to pass first or second place, because they've got really nice clean air, then you're kind of waiting for them to make a mistake or get caught in a dirty air with traffic themselves. So yeah, I think it would have been really tough.
We kind of, we saw Matt close up on you, and you started running a little bit faster laps than what Nick was running. I'm like, God, we're gonna have a 3-way battle for the end here, and then lap cars kind of got in the way, and even after you got by them, you weren't able to gain anything.
No, I mean, as soon as I saw Matt coming, I kind of had to start looking in my mirrors rather than focusing on just driving fast laps. But yeah, I think Matt definitely worked something out with the driving technique or tools that got his car to last longer, because I think I must have I probably burnt the tyres off trying to close down Nick really and make something happen early in the stint, because I lost quite a lot of front grip towards the end of that stint, which meant it was really difficult to hold off Matt. So yeah, Matt definitely worked something out to get performance later in the stint, and yeah, he may have been able to catch Nick if I wasn't in the way. But yeah, like I say, I hadn't actually done a long stint before this. I'd only done half a stint before the race, so I had no idea how my driving was going to affect the tyres long term.
I mean, still a great result overall. And I was saying the other thing I wanted to ask about was obviously with the pit strategy. That was Steve and I were talking the potential difference. Of course, I said these Indy cars, of course, very weight sensitive. So you have kind of the balance between the two of, okay, what's going to be more important, having the car be lighter or maybe having the fresher tires on the car. So when you came out in that third position, did you notice any difference between the used tires and then you with the new tires, or the feel difference? Or did it seem like it was just all about the clean air on the front of these cars?
Clean air's a massive advantage. New tires are faster, but obviously that balances out with the when you don't have clean air on your nose and you've got more weight in the car, and heat cycles can help the car. I mean, when you've got fresh tires on, you have to put them through the heat cycle. They start off loose and then they get tight and then they loosen up again. And obviously people on older tyres don't have to go through that heat cycle, so they probably are slightly faster on the first few laps. But yeah, track position is everything. So yeah, like Yari later in the race with really old tyres. Nick still struggled to get close to him and pass him. So yeah, a lighter car, clean air can offset the disadvantage of old tyres.
Yeah, so like you said, we were talking about the gamble. Like you said, Yari went for the big gamble at the end. Unfortunately, didn't pay off for him. So I was saying that's you never know if and when those cautions will fall for your favor or not. So Yari also went for the big gamble, didn't pay off for him. But I mean, a great result for you tonight, Henry, to grab that second after getting the pole position, getting some laps led as well. So overall, I mean, it's still a good points night for you. Obviously, Nick's still kind of put it on the beating. So. But Steve and I were saying, I mean, we'll see if the trend continues, because let's say last season Charles Teed won 3 in a row, and then didn't go the rest of the way that he may have wanted it to. So we'll see. Hopefully, let's say for Nick's case, he's probably hoping that doesn't follow suit. But we'll see how the trends look on this one. So I mean, just an awesome job though tonight. Definitely want to give you the floor though. Some thanks and shouts for your second here tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to the league, Jim and Matt, putting everything together. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting, and yeah, thanks to my team, Powerslide Motorsports.
I'll enjoy this one, Henry, and we will look forward to catching you again here soon, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Great run.
Thank you.
All right, that leaves us one last driver to talk to, and that is going to be our race winner for the third time in a row. That's going to be the 89 of Nick Degroot. So, Nick, before we get into the formal questions of the race, we're going to start off with the Charles Teed 3 in a row question of the day, or for tonight, was going to be, for him, it was lucky underwear to get those front 3 races in a row. So he had some pretty dirty underwear. So is it the same situation for you, or what's your lucky charm so far?
No, I'm afraid it's different, but to be honest, I actually have a lucky charm. I have a lucky yen from the 1980s, a Japanese yen that I have on my rig, this little coin, and I've had it there for a couple years. So yeah, I do have a lucky charm, in fact. I don't know if that's why we won 3 in a row, but hey, I'd like to think so.
I mean, it's probably a better story than dirty underwear. So I'd say we'll say that's working instead. So Charles might be a little disappointed, but we'll hash that out later on. But I mean, as they started 4th, obviously you were able to get up into, I believe it was 3rd right off the bat there. And then from there, I mean, obviously the turning point for you is the strategy call, where I believe it was you and Scott, if I'm not mistaken, both stayed out there. And I mean, from there, it kind of worked in your favor. Was there any hesitation or thoughts about pitting with everybody else, or were you thinking, okay, I've got these 2 wins that I can afford to gamble a little bit and see if it pays off?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I don't think you were going to be passing the leader tonight with how strong that car would be in clean air, even when they had to encounter traffic. Like, even Yari, I could get to him, but he kept scooting away from me, even with the old tires. And so when I did that, I'm just like, you know what? If we get the caution, cool. If we don't, oh well. I was throwing it out there, seeing what would happen. It worked out perfect. It was like a 20-lap run when we stayed out, and then it was a 30-lap run, which put us right on the edge of making it on fuel. So I knew everybody would pit outside of Yari, who threw an even bigger gamble than me. And it just worked out. And from that point on, I was just saving fuel, trying to keep Henry behind me. And yeah, it's nice when you have a race where the cautions fall in your favor.
Definitely. Nice both to have that and to have called the right strategy to take advantage of them.
Yeah, it's not the first time this year Yellow's helped me either. Was it Kentucky? Andrew and Henry were going to pit, and I stayed out 1 extra lap, and then we got a caution that put me in the lead of that race. So yeah, the Yellows have been kind to me this season. I like to think I just went out and whooped them 3 weeks in a row, but that's not what happened at all. I had a lot of luck involved in those 3 wins.
It always takes a little bit of everything for sure on those races, but I mean, you're right though. Like I said, Yari went for the big Hail Mary, if you will, as well. So you mentioned though the fuel at the kind of right at the edge of the window. Had the race stayed green from that point to the end, was it looking good on fuel, or was that going to still require some fuel savings to make it from that initial point before the yellows came out?
Oh yeah, I was going to have to be in full save mode while also trying to keep Henry behind us. So, and he's very good at saving fuel. So I was a bit nervous about that. So when those yellows came out, I was like, okay, good. There's one that we should be right. We should be pretty good now. And then we get another one. It's like, oh, we're perfectly fine. And then heck, we got another one after that. So yeah, fuel was a concern for about 5 seconds. Not anymore.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely say like you said, it kind of felt like everything worked out for you in your favorite time. And there's a lot of movement around the race, I'll say. So, it was definitely, like I said, I think track position. I mean, it's a short track; it's always going to be that case. I'll say, but that's going to bring us now to next week. So one that I know you've mentioned before isn't really your strongest suit at the road courses, but say I'm sure you'll be up for the challenge there as well to see what kind of result you can get over there. What are you looking forward to? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Road America is what you guys got coming up next here.
Yep, I've been trying to improve my my abilities at road courses, and I think I have gotten better. And I think going into this, I can go and get a top 5, and maybe if a thing or two goes my way again, I believe we could put it on the podium. But there's going to be guys there who are much better road course racers than me, so I don't think 4 in a row is on the cards, but I definitely think we can continue our top 5 streak or even a podium streak. That would be pretty cool. So we'll go there and see what we can do. But yeah, top 5, I'd be happy with that.
All right, so yeah, I wouldn't put it past you to say. Obviously, I got to run a little bit with you at Long Beach last week. That a very bumpy, narrow track, a little different than what we'll be seeing at Road America. Say a very wide open, long, difficult track there as well. But say definitely saw you had plenty of pace over at Long Beach. So say looking forward to it. Will be fun to see if you're able to, like I said, either get 4 podiums in a row, 4 wins in a row, 4 top 5s in a row, whatever it may be. But yeah, just awesome job though tonight, Nick. Enjoy this one, and I'll say look forward to seeing you next week over at the Road America.
Yeah, thank you guys. And it's kind of funny because going into this race, I told everybody in the chat, I'm like, I don't like this track. In fact, I believe I said I hate this track. So to come out here with a win is very surprising. It's very cool because I never expected to win here, especially with some of the guys in this field that we had, like Henry and Matt. So that's really cool to come away with a win at Richmond. I don't think I've ever won at Richmond in a league or official. So yeah, that's a first for me. That's pretty cool.
Before we kick you out of here, though, I know you got some great partners on that car, so definitely want to give you the floor here for any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that win this evening.
Oh yeah, as always, Factory Back Motorsports, motorsport.com, CovyMore.com, Blaze Pod, Degroot Automotive and U-Haul, Cowboy Shit, and everybody else that helps us make this team a awesome place to be. It's a great organization, a lot of great people, and it's only getting better. So look forward to the next race.
Well, congrats again, Nick. Enjoy this one. Look forward to seeing you next week, sir.
Thanks, guys.
3 in a row. Great job.
All right, Steve. So that is our race winner, Nick Degroot. So yes, I mean we're gonna go from a 3/4 mile here at Richmond over to Road America. Much different, much longer track. As I'm trying to see if I can even find what the track length is offhand. I'm not finding it quick and easy here, unfortunately. But I say it's gonna be probably, I would say, close to probably about 2 minutes. No, it looks about minute 40, minute 50 lap range, probably in those cars. So yeah, so going from about 18, 17-second lap times to about a minute and 40 or so. Going to be a big change for these guys to for the laps there over at Road America.
Yep, most definitely. Not to mention the fact that they'll be turning right and left, braking and shifting and all that fun stuff that I'm not very good at.
Yeah, and I mean, there's all the other things you have to work, so that they're going to play with too, as well. Push to pass, tire compounds. I mean, there's going to be a lot of these things that these guys are going to have to be ready for. So, it's going to be a lot of fun there. So, yeah, I'll say, hope you guys enjoyed the race tonight, Steve. As always, a pleasure having you up here with me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. We'll see what these guys can do over at Road America.
Pleasure being here with you, Gael. And I have to tell one quick story before we go. Nick mentioned that, how funny it was that he went out and won on a track that he hated. I've had that happen to me in the past, but as you recall, last Sunday we went and raced at the Charlotte Roval, a track and car setup that I absolutely hated, and I decided to take a just race the track approach And as you know, I did not win that race at all. I had no chance. So sometimes you could just hate a track and do terrible.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both on those ones. You never know how it'll wind up, but yeah, so that's obviously I got to join you there, and it's it's a tough combo for sure. But I mean, obviously for you, big picture is just to advance into to the next round of the playoffs and get back to your comfort zone with some of the tracks you're a lot better at. So I'll definitely look forward to see how the rest of that season goes. To say, I know you got some of the broadcasters, like I said, that are racing here that'll be part of the race over, or part of the broadcast team over there as well. So it's a lot of fun to kind of see how everything's going full circle with that as well. So yeah, just a lot of fun. It's kind of our little small iRacing world, if you will, with us here with the Green White Checker TV and Area 51, of course, Dark Horse being there as well. And then you've got your league with AOLL, and just yeah, so we got a little bit of everything with these guys. So it's a cool little family we've got, and saying I think that's just what makes iRacing so much fun.
Definitely.
So again, thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be back on Thursday for the Truck Series Super Speedway with those guys. So hopefully I'll have Maxwell in the booth with me once again over there. So again, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully have a wonderful evening, and we'll catch you on Thursday. Until then, though, have a good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.